Melbourne is one of the world's most livable cities, and RACV wants it to stay that way. Thousands of people move to Melbourne every week, and many choose to live in outer suburbs like this one. Whether it's the more affordable housing or the lifestyle that appeals to you, for many people living in outer Melbourne, the reality is you're probably pretty familiar with having to battle overcrowded public transport and congested roads to get to where you want to go. Transport in outer Melbourne has not kept up with development. Rural roads that once carried a few trucks to and from local farms are now carrying thousands of vehicles a day, generated by massive housing estates. There are missing links in the road network, public transport services that don't run often enough for long enough, and for many people public transport isn't an option at all. RACV has released a new report called Growing Pains. We've consulted with 16 local government areas across outer Melbourne and Geelong to identify a list of 159 road and public transport projects needed to deliver better transport connections and more transport options for people living there. Newer developments are a good example of how we're getting better at planning, but the reality is the housing often goes in years before the public transport services arrive, and many parts of outer Melbourne are still waiting for action. Officer is the site of a recently announced development which is expected to generate 10,000 new homes and 6,500 new jobs. The existing railway station will need to be upgraded to cater for the new community, and bus services provided to access it. The road network will need to be brought up to scratch to cater for the increase in traffic volumes. But planning is not enough. For years, housing estates have been established without the foresight or the funding to deliver the road upgrades, public transport services and local jobs needed to cater for these new communities. In outer Melbourne, there are few local jobs where people live, and many are forced to travel across town or into the CBD for work. For many residents living in these areas, long commutes and congestion are a part of daily life. RACV started looking at the transport issues facing outer Melbourne over a decade ago. Governments have made some progress, but a massive backlog remains, and the list only continues to grow. Immediate action is needed. RACV is calling on the state government to develop a long-term investment strategy to deliver the critically needed transport projects and to engage with the federal government and the private sector to do so. We cannot continue to rely on the drip feed of annual budgets. The squeeze being felt by residents battling these transport issues every day must come to an end. Growing Pains is more than just a list of projects. It highlights the importance of transport. Poor transport affects your ability to access jobs, education and services, and it affects your ability to connect with other people. Add your voice to the campaign and tell us what you think about transport issues where you live and how it affects your life. Visit racvgrowingpains.com.au and share your stories with us.